Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. My name is Amirah binti Abdul Khalid and I am from MLG 2401A. Today I will be presenting about reflexive and intensive pronoun, and this will be my presentation video for EPE447, which is Advanced Grammar and Usage. So, what is a reflexive pronoun? A reflexive pronoun is a pronoun that reflects directly back onto the subject of the sentences. This pronoun always ends in self or selves, such as himself or themselves. And they are also essential to understanding the meaning of the sentence. A reflexive pronoun can be used as the direct object, indirect object, or object of a preposition in a sentence. For example, the Robinsons were annoying neighbors. They keep inviting themselves over to our house. So, themselves in this sentence is a reflexive pronoun but in plural. As you can see at the slide are the example for the reflexive pronoun for singular and plural. For the singular, we have myself, yourself, and himself. For the plural, we have ourselves, yourself, and themselves. Here's another example. The puppy saw itself in the mirror. Itself is the direct object in the sentence. The pronoun itself refers back to the subject, which is the puppy. So the puppy saw the puppy in the mirror. This pronoun can be a direct object in a sentence when the subject and the direct object are one and the same. For example, Jack decided to reward Mary with a reward. And for the second sentence example, Jack decided to reward himself with a dinner out. So in the first sentence, Mary is the object of the reward. While for the second sentence, Jack, which is the subject, is also the object of the reward in the second sentence. So we use the pronoun himself. So it became Jack decided to reward himself with a dinner out. Secondly, reflexive pronoun can also play the indirect object role in a sentence. For example, he knitted himself a new sweater. Himself in the sentence is a reflexive pronoun which is indirect object role. And then the second example, Cynthia poured herself, which is the reflexive pronoun, a cup of tea every morning. It is worth nothing than referring twice to the same noun as a subject and object, but it will sound a bit creepy, such as Jack decided to cook Jack a special supper. So instead of that, you can use Jack decided to cook himself a special supper. Moving on to the intensive pronoun. So what is intensive pronoun? So intensive pronoun is almost identical to reflexive pronoun. It is defined as a pronoun that ends in self or selves, and it places emphasis on its antecedent by referring back to another noun or pronoun used earlier in the sentence. So for this reason, intensive pronoun also sometimes called emphatic pronoun. As you can see at the slide, these are the example for the intensive pronoun, which is himself, herself, yourself, themselves, and also ourselves. So intensive pronoun might not be necessary, but they serve the important roles and function of making your writing more interesting as well as more meaningful, particularly in formal situations. So you can use them sparingly to ensure that the emphasis that they provide isn't lost. So people might ask, how to use intensive pronoun. So each intensive pronoun corresponds to a personal pronoun. This intensive pronoun refers to the same person or a thing that its personal pronoun does. So you can see at the slide, I listed some of the intensive pronouns. The first example is myself, which is me, the speaker or the writer. And then the second one, yourself, you as in singular, which is another person beside the speaker or the writer. And then this third one is itself. It may be a thing or an animal. And then himself, him, a male person. Herself, her, a female person. Ourself is the speaker or the writer and other people that are together, plural. Yourself, you as a plural, which is other people besides the speaker or the writer. And then themselves, them as in a group of people, animals. So it is easy to tell the difference between a reflexive and intensive pronoun. Intensive pronoun aren't essential to a sentence's basic meaning. So you can understand this basic difference will help you to prevent you from confusing the two of the reflexive and intensive pronoun. But both intensive and reflexive pronoun end in the suffix self and selves. However, reflexive pronoun are always object that refers to a sentence subject. As you can see now at the slide, I've made some example on how to differentiate between reflexive and intensive pronoun. So the first sentence, Jim made himself a coffee. So without the reflexive pronoun himself, it will be impossible for the reader to know who Jim made coffee for. So that has concluded my presentation in the end for intensive and reflexive pronoun. I hope all of you will have a fantastic day after watching my video. So that's all from me. Thank you.